Hello, and welcome back to another Eduonics tutorial. In this section, we're going over effects and techniques in Photoshop. And in this video, we'll be going over how to combine different images together. One of the greatest things about Photoshop is that you can use it to take two completely different images, possibly taken at different times and places, and smack them together into one. There's really no limitations to what you can combine together, other than your own creativity and skills in Photoshop. I can't help you when it comes to creativity. You have to find that within yourself. But I can help you with the skills and steps you need to take to successfully bring your vision to life. Here I have an image of a snowboarder flying off of a snowy slope in midair. And if I go to the top of my Document tab and go to the right, I have another tab with another image. Here I have an image of an urban-style dancer who's also flying in midair. In my imagination, I would like to replace the snowboarder with the dancer. But there's a few different obstacles standing in my way. First, I'm going to switch back to my snowboard image. Then I want to view these documents side by side. To do that, I'll go up to Window, Arrange, then I'll click 2 up vertical. So as I said, I have a few different obstacles. Number one, these images are in fact two completely separate documents. So I would have to cut her out and paste her onto the other document. Number two, the snowboarder is taking up the spot that I want to put her in, and he doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So I'll have to remove him without removing the background around him. And number three, the color tones of each image are completely different. So even if I did somehow manage to get her on there, she wouldn't look realistic up against the rest of the image. Let's see what I can do about all that. I'm going to switch back to the snowboarder image by going up to Window, Arrange, Consolidate All to Tabs. Now I want to get a bit of a closer look at my snowboarder. I'll go to the Tools panel and get my Zoom tool. Then I'll just click a few times till I'm a bit closer. The unfortunate thing about this image is that he's not on a plain background. If he was, it would make it very easy to remove him. But instead, the snow is all around him, so I can't remove him without removing the snow as well. Instead of removing him, I'm going to try painting over him. And instead of using just a solid color to paint over him, I'm going to paint him in with other parts of the same image. But before I make any changes, I'll just duplicate my layer by clicking it and dragging it down to the new layer icon. Now I'll go back to the Tools panel and get my Clone Stamp tool. I want to start by painting over his hand. So I'll find another spot on the image that looks similar to the area around his hand. This spot looks pretty good. To sample this spot, I'm just going to press and hold the Alt key, then click to set my sample. Okay, now I'll go back to his hand and try painting in. Hey, not bad. I think I want to add some snow to this empty area under his body. I'll find another spot that might blend in well. And I'll press and hold the Alt key and then click to set my sample. Then I'll go back to the empty spot and try painting in some snow. Hey, not bad at all. I'm going to repeat this process of sampling and painting a few more times. This is looking pretty good. With every sample and subsequent painting, I'm getting closer and closer to my goal of completely removing him from the image. I'm going to continue on with this process, trying to go in short, controlled strokes. Because if I paint too much from one sample, it won't look natural in my final result. Instead, it will look like a bunch of repeated areas, and it won't look good at all. Okay, this is almost there. I'm just going to do a little touching up here and there to make everything look a little bit smoother. Okay, I think I'm done. I'll just go back to the Tools panel and grab my Zoom tool so I can zoom out. Very nice. Let's take a look at my before and after. I'll just hide this layer in the Layers panel. There's before, and there's after. Great! It pretty much looks like he was never there in the first place. So to move on, I'll switch back to my dancer image. Now that the snowboarder is gone from my other image, I need to cut this dancer out from her background before I can place her where the snowboarder was. Usually, I like to use the quick selection tool to select things. But in this case, I don't think I'll need it. You see, in this image, the background is mainly one color. And there's another selection tool that's more suited to selecting single color backgrounds. I'll go over to my Tools panel, right-click my Quick Selection tool, and select the Magic Wand tool. The Magic Wand tool is at its best when it's selecting a background consisting of as few colors as possible. Before I use it to select my dancer's background, I'm going to reduce the tolerance down to 15. The Magic Wand tool is meant to function as a one-click selection tool, but reducing the tolerance gives me a bit more manual control over what I want to be selected. Setting the tolerance to 15 will make sure that it will select less than 15 shades of color beyond the first color I click. To select this background, I'll start by clicking in the bottom left corner. Then I'll press and hold Shift as I click to continue adding to my selection as I work my way outwards. And I'll just continue clicking to select the background in controlled increments. Okay, so now I have the entire background selected. I'll just switch to my zoom tool to get a closer look at the edges of my selection. Ah, just as I suspected. Some areas of the selection have gone too far and selected parts of the dancer. No worries, I'll just touch these up real quick, and then we can move forward. Before I proceed, I'm going to switch to Quick Mask Mode. To do that, I'll just hit Q on my keyboard. Alright, now I'm in Quick Mask Mode. You can see that the areas I'm not selecting have been highlighted in red. Quick Mask Mode is great because it temporarily converts my selection into a mask, and I can paint in the areas I want to be included or removed. I'll go over to my Tools panel and get the Brush tool. I'm going to use this brush to help refine my selection. So I'll go up in the tool options and make sure my brush is at 100% hardness to match the hardness of my current selection. Then I'll make sure that my brush color is set to black. Now I'll just zoom in and start refining my selection. I'll just fill in the areas where the magic wand tool went too far. I want to make sure that my dancer is completely highlighted in red, while my background remains normal. I'm going to continue to brush around my image, just making minor adjustments and touch-up. And anytime I need to reverse my painting, I'll just hit the X key on my keyboard to swap my foreground and background colors. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and zoom out. Then I'll hit Q on my keyboard to exit Quick Mask Mode. Alright, my selection is done. But before I try moving the dancer to the snowboard image, I need to apply my selection as a layer mask. To do that, I'll first invert the selection by hitting Ctrl-Shift-I on my keyboard. Then I'll just go down to the bottom of the Layers panel and click the Layer Mask button. This converted my selection into an editable layer mask and converted my locked background layer into an unlocked layer with my layer mask. To bring this over to my snowboarder image, I'll go over to the Tools panel and grab my Move tool. Then I'll just click and drag this layer up to my Snowboarder tab. Then I'll just drop it in the middle of the canvas. Okay, now my dancer is on my snowboarder image. It's looking good so far, but she's just a little too big. I'll hit Ctrl-T to enter Free Transform. Now I'll size her down to a size comparable to the snowboarder, probably around 50% of her original size. Then I'll hit the check mark to commit the transform. This is looking good, but I think it might work better if she was facing the other direction. I'll go up to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. Ah, that's better. I'll just use my Move tool to position her in the best spot according to the lighting of the image. There, perfect. Since I'm done with the mask on my dancer, I'm going to apply it to its layer. I'll just go over to the Layers panel, right-click my layer mask, and click Apply Layer Mask. This image is almost done. There's just one more thing I need to do. You see, she's on the image, but she kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. I need to match the color tone of my dancer layer with the color tone of my background. With her layer still selected, I'll go up to Image, Adjustments, Match Color. Now I'm in the Match Color dialog box. From here, I can sample any other layer in my document as a color guide for my current layer. All I have to do is go down to Source and choose the layer that I want to be changed. So I'll select my dancer image. Now I'll go down to Layer and switch it to the image that I want to draw colors from. So I'll select my original background layer. Look at that! Now you can see the color changes previewing in the canvas. Match Color is sampling my original background layer to adjust the colors of my current dancer layer. Very cool. For me though, this effect is a little intense. I'm going to reduce it by going over to the box that's labeled Fade. And I'll increase that to 40. This will blend my match color adjustment with my original layer, resulting in a more natural look overall. I'll go up and click OK. There we go! I successfully combined my dancer image with my snowboarder image. Let's look at the before and after. I'll go over to the Layers panel and hide my two top layers. There's before, and there's after. Wow, big difference. In this tutorial, we learned how to use the Clone Stamp tool in small steps to hide an entire person from an image. Then we used the magic wand and quick mask features to select a person from a simple background. Then we went over the match color adjustment to automatically change the tone of a layer to match the tone of another. That will do it for combining images. I'll go over another effect and technique in the next video.